Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, I have a big thing to try this week. And I do mean big. Look at the size of this sketchbook. It's enormous. It's 24 sheets, 80-pound paper, medium tooth, should be perfect for pastels. I am going to try it out. Here's the thing, it's going to be a little hard recording it because my camera mount for my desk doesn't actually go high enough to capture the whole paper. So I'm going to have to figure something out. In the meantime, I'm going to use it and I'll come up with a solution in the next couple of videos maybe. Let's go! First of all, welcome to the voiceover portion of this video. You are my guest today and you will be treated as such. Please enjoy your stay. On to business. As always, I start my pastel drawings in a colored pencil. This is to prevent graphite smudging. Not so much a problem with the gallery that I've been using lately, but it's still something that I keep in mind. This time in particular, it is a Crayola erasable. I've really been enjoying these. They're a little bit softer. They're not as pigmented as, say, a Prismacolor, so that's not going to show up quite as well on camera, but it's still pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. I tell you, drawing on a sketchbook this size is quite different from what I'm used to. Normally I like to draw on little tiny things. It doesn't work so well with pastels, so I've been trying to branch out onto larger ones. I've recently purchased an 11 by 14. I think you actually saw that in my last video when I was drawing Rainbow Man. The sketchbook before that is a little 7 by 10 multimedia sketchbook. It's also a Strathmore. I actually quite like their paper. I like it quite a bit more than Canson, to be honest. Canson is very smooth, their multimedia paper. It's not great for pastels. It's good for, if you're painting something. It's good for not wearing down your paintbrush. But if you want a media that actually grabs onto something like pencil crayons or charcoal or whatever, pastels is a really good example of this. It's not going to give a lot of tooth for the material to actually grab onto. This particular reference photo I found off Pinterest. I know it's not a very good habit of using Pinterest for photo references, but this particular photo, I just loved this woman. She's a very distinguished, very regal older lady, and the way that the light was hitting her was just magical. And I saw her and I just knew I had to draw this on camera. As always, I started with the eyes. Now, the eyes are the easiest part to mess up. You start with the easiest part to mess up, and you mess it up, you can just throw the whole paper away and start over again. Who knows? I might have done this a dozen times, and you didn't know. I actually have 2 of these sketchbooks. You'll never prove anything. No, but this was the first sketch in this size that I actually did. I'm actually surprised that it ended up this well. Usually, I have to do 2 or 3 warm-ups before I even approach something that is passable, but I don't know, I was just feeling inspired with this lady. As always, I keep to my particular order by going down to the cheek from the eye, and I think I end up skipping the mouth and going straight to the other eye. You know, it's funny, at this point I had actually decided what the background color was going to be. Normally I do that at the very end, and it's usually just like, okay, what colors does this portrait have? Let's try to get some contrasty colors to really make it pop. But at this point I was like, okay, she is radiant. She is just glowing. Let's put some of the light from the background onto her. And so you can really see that in the side of the face and the other side of the neck, the one that's kind of stretched out just below the earring. I mean, obviously you don't see that yet. You'll see that in like 5 minutes. Would have been about 3 hours from my point of view, but you get the bridge notes. You get the highlights. Speaking of highlights, it's time to make this really pop. Now, I actually cut out most of the video showing the drawing of the nose because frankly, it's a nose. It's not as interesting as other parts of the face. So we're actually starting in with the highlights on the bottom half of the eye socket. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the face. It's so subtle. It's just got a little bit of curve to it, just enough to make the shadows appear on it, but it's not so harsh. It's not like a hard cut across the face like a nose. It's just a good part of the face. Now, the eye puffy might be my personal favorite, but what I think really brings home the bacon and is the real VIP in this particular drawing is the cheek. Obviously starting with filling out the form with the highlight this time rather than the shadow, because the shadow is going to be the whole side of the face. She's looking towards a light source, and so the entire half of her face is not actually facing the light, is going to be in shadow. I don't know. Do I gotta explain light to people? I don't think I do. Y'all seem like smart folks. Just blocking in the shadow now. I always feel like I should be doing more with big swatches like this, but my color palette is so limited right now. I've only got a 36 set of professional colors. I've also got the Neo Pastels, but they're mostly a repeat of colors that are found in my gallery set. So I'm looking at getting the 72 set of gallery. It actually sounds like my local art store, which is at the moment Desairs, is going to be stocking larger sets of Mungyo. Right now they only have the 36 set, but this summer it sounds like with their next shipment they're going to be buying at least a 48 set. I inquired about getting one through them, and that was like pretty much just their answer is that you gotta wait until summer. Unfortunately, in my circle, I am not known for my patience, and so I'll probably be getting it off of Amazon or something. I guess there's nothing inherently wrong with Amazon per se, but with their track record of how they treat their employees and just generally being the big kid on the block, I do like to try to, patronize other businesses. If it comes between getting it off of Amazon or going without something that I might actually need, I will end up going with Amazon. I'm not a sadist. And finally, we have the mouth. It's times like these that I really regret having such a limited range of skin tones, actually. I know it's kind of weird me complaining about skin tones. I'll use just about any pastel to draw just about anything, but this peach just ain't it, guys. This peach is like the most generic of Caucasian skin tones, and this lady's skin was a lot paler, a lot more yellow, but it wasn't quite what I've got going on the cheek. I think it would have been an injustice to have to do it in the same color. Haha, I deked you out with the purple. Nope, it's going sienna again. This forehead gets the same glow as the nose, actually. We're getting close to the end of what you can actually see with where my camera is at the moment. I think we have the hat and ear and the hair, and that's about it. There's nothing interesting about the hair. It's just the way I draw hair. It's very boring. I think I liven it up a little bit with some white and some gray, just to add a little bit of volume to it. It's literally like a kid could draw that. Oh, but the ear though. The ear is also boring. Sorry, the most interesting, I always front load the most interesting stuff. All we gotta look forward to is the ear, the hat, and what you can see of the neck. So how's everyone doing today? I'm doing quite well. I actually went outside barefoot for the first time since October today, so that was nice. It's gonna be an exciting couple of weeks for me. I'm actually looking at getting my own website set up and maybe even starting up my Instagram account again. It's pretty essential these days as an artist to have an Instagram account. It's kind of weird. It seems like you need to do videos more than pictures though now. The focus on reels kind of threw me off the first half of last year, but maybe I'm ready to do it again. I'm making art a lot more consistently now. I'm usually doing something almost every day. I have a habit of doing a little doodle every day, even if it's only 20 or 30 minutes in the morning. It's kind of how I wake up. I'll have my little cup of coffee and I'll watch some Star Trek or something. And I'll just doodle. Just some final touch-ups on the face before I start on some of the more boring parts. This hat is almost solid black. It's got a little bit of lighting on the rim, but you can see I busted out a new set of pastels for this. I'm using a mix of my Crayola, my Expressionist, and I think I brought out some either whole bean or Panda. I can't remember which one. It does look a bit ugly before it's been blended, doesn't it? I think I'm gonna let the camera just roll a bit with it before I start cutting in again. Finally, I can start blending it, now that it's all filled in. You gotta start putting the light on top of the dark, If you go the other way, it'll just cover it up, so there's no sense in doing that. Luckily for you, I skipped the entirety of the coloring of the shoulders, mostly because you can't actually see it on screen. And now we're skipping straight towards the final, which is the background. A lot of people think that you should add the background while you're painting, and it'll give it a sense of belonging within the color. You can't really do that so much with pastels because you'll end up smudging it all over them. And now it's upside down, just because it makes it easier to color. This is actually the original view of what you would see if I didn't mess with the settings on my film. The camera is actually inverted. It's pointing down towards me, so I have to go in and I have to flip the image in order to actually have it show properly. And just a quick shot for posterity, and it's done! Oh my god, it doesn't even fit in frame properly. This is my first attempt. I think it went pretty well. I don't actually have a picture frame large enough for it, so it will go on the wall eventually, but until then I've just got it on this little clip. Just for context. Dang it! This is the sketchbook that I started with. This is the sketchbook that I just did it in. Holy crap! I haven't even done the math on it, but the 11 by 14 has literally twice the surface area of this one. I cannot imagine what this one does. Once this goes on the wall, I'll probably post an update on art blog. Until then, I'll see you all next week for another wonderful adventure. Okay, bye.